Even well down into the lower layers of the city, the fighting continues. At least, that's what the din of cries, fires, and clashing axes suggests. Rera leads the way, walking fast, her eyes fixed forward.
Of course. I'll catch up.
Yes?
Fair enough. Let's do this.
Take them out!
I'm listening.
Let's be quick!
We should move. You know the way, right?
Keep it up.
You were saying?
Go ahead.
Hi.
What is it? What do we have here?
Attack!
This way. Over here.
Uh-huh.
No one lives forever.
What do you need? Oh, crump. So, what's
This
the
is
plan?
it!
Oh, sounds like a plan.
Move in.
So, that rune allows its user to control someone else's mind.
Yes, and it irreparably damages the victim's sight. Process. In other words, Arrakis will never recover.
I'll save my tears for someone else. But why by Nihaf would this Iskrim use the rune to turn someone into a tyrant?
We'll find out.
All right, here goes nothing.
Consider it done.
Sure. Stay close.
Try to keep up.
What is it?
Yes?
Go ahead.
What do you want?
Yes?
Sure. Like a landslide waiting to fall.
Make it. They must be done.
Really?
Move in. Out of the way.
I'm here.
Get ready!
Yes.
Lead on then.
That way? Sounds like a plan.
I'm listening.
Iria?
You were saying?
We know what you did, Iskrim. You used the rune to orchestrate the rise of the Granite Suns. Arrakis was your puppet.
So, the secret's out. I knew it would be eventually.
Stones, why? Why the stones would you do something like this? Do you know how many people you've killed?
Do you know whose grave this is?
How should I know?
It's Gilak Orblades, the founder of the first Blackstone rebels, whose name you borrowed. King Rorik executed him 20 years ago.
I know who Gilak Orblade was. A hero. What does he have to do with you?
He was my husband.
You're... what?
It's true, Rara. I should have told you earlier, but I don't know. It was private.
So, Gilak Orblade was your... what? Your lover?
Is the idea that absurd? Gilak. All he ever wanted to do was good. He didn't fool himself into believing he could save the entire world. Just a touch of good, here and there. That's why he founded the rebels. They weren't even violent to begin with. Just a voice against the injustices that happened under King Rorik's reign. And what did he get in return? Right. The king had him murdered. And when they presented his body to the public, everyone cheered.
I don't follow. King Rorik killed your husband, I understand that. But why on Io would you use the rune to mastermind the rise of another tyrant because of that?
Because I wanted to make them see! I wanted to make these stupid, gullible fools who enable... people like Rorik and Arrakis to see how endlessly rotten they really are! And it worked, didn't it? All it took were empty words and hatred, and look what would happen. If we dwarves are really that easy to break, that easy to manipulate, then blood and ashes are all we deserve. Arrakis was a test, and they failed it.
Why have you released Arrakis now?
Why? Because there's no point anymore. The test is over, and Windholm has failed.
The rebellion succeeded, didn't it? So how did Windholm fail your test?
They failed it the moment they elevated Arrakis into power. Restore Windholm to its former glory. Gravel Eaters, Granite Sons. Empty words. Pandering, sycophancy through and through. How could anyone believe this nonsense? And yet they did. They cheered, they hated, and they killed for it. As for the rebels, I had high hopes for them. But the more powerful they became, the clearer it became to me that they were ultimately no better than Arrakis. Look at the bloodbath up there. They did that. Give a man an axe, and you see his true face.
Malik made them do it. This wasn't what I stood for. This wasn't what any of us stood.
And yet they obeyed when your brother commanded them to commence the slaughtering. Admit it, Hailstone. It's just in our blood. We dwarves deserve no better.
In other words, Arrakis was your puppet from the very start.
For 5 moons, not from the start. You see, Arrakis was always a hate-monger at heart. That's why I chose him. Preached racial purity. He had slept with an elf. What he lacked was simply the rhetorics and the charisma to take over. So I used the rune on him and helped out with that.
So you did all this to prove a point?
Call it what you will. The truth is, had these people not been so foolish, Windwall would still be at peace now. And Gilak would still be alive.
You bloody, arrogant piece of shit! You played God. That's what this was about. Don't you dare pretend it was any different.
I threw a carcass into the arena, Hailstone. The lions tore it apart.
Well, Windholm is in flames and hundreds of dwarves are dead. Are you happy?
Quite the opposite. But it wasn't me. I never had Arrakis order the death of anyone. What happened out there? Those fools did it to themselves. And that includes your brother, Rara Hailstone. He was only waiting for a chance to get his hands bloody.
You know nothing about my brother.
Oh, but I do. I know that you and he resurrected the Blackstone rebels. And at first, I actually even supported you. Does the name Turfa Smeltgrip ring a bell? Your most generous supporter. I planted that idea inside her head.
Wait. You built up the Blackstone rebels?
I supported them. But the more I watched, the more I realized that they were as bad as Arrakis' lackeys. Just in a different uniform. What your brother did out there, Rara Hailstone, only proves my point.
So you caused a civil war just to prove a point? You're mad.
No more mad than the countless dwarves who cheered Arrakis on.
So you caused a civil...
No more mad than the countless...
Iskrim, you were also being manipulated. You're one of the corrupted, one of the God of Light's tools.
The God of Light? What are you talking about?
The God of Light is trying to re-enter the world. It's part of an ancient prophecy, Jakku. There are 4 corrupted whose task it is to sow chaos and help with its plan. And you are one of them. You might not have been aware of it, but the God of Light influenced your actions.
What? But... No. This is nonsense. I did this because the dwarves deserved it. We...
Corrupted or not, I don't give a shit. You have blood on your hands, Circle Mage Iskrim, and you're gonna answer for it. General, I hope you have a spare cell in the Greykeep dungeons. A lightless one with rats.
He'll be tried and punished, yes. Iskrim, promise me that you're not gonna put up a fight. There's been enough bloodshed today.
Do what you want. I did what I had to.
The Throne Hall, the inviolable inner sanctum of Greykeep. Here lies Nortinder's seat of power, the seat from which her sovereign strikes accords and passes judgment. There is a certain hush to the cavernous hall and its many passages, as if the legacy of kings and queens fills the expanse with dignified certainty.
Your Majesty, I'm sorry for the delay. There was something I needed to take care of.
You are excused. We were just discussing the events in Windholm. Iria, you say you noticed nothing strange about Iskrim all this time? I am not blaming you. I simply imagine he must have worked on this plan for quite some time before realizing it. Well, you know how Iskrim is. When he wasn't abroad on his expeditions, he was in his laboratory researching the rune and how the Shapers used it. He would have had plenty of time to work on this plan of his.
Though that raises the question as to when corruption starts. So was it Sheogded who put this idea into his head? Or was it already there and Sheogded merely twisted it for his own purposes?
Either explanation is unsettling.
Well, unsettling or not, what matters is that we took one more of Sheogdad's corrupted out of the equation. Also, High Hierophant Arrakis won't be a problem any longer. You did good work, Rara Hailstone. And so did you, General.
Will putting Iskrim in chains really neutralize his influence as a corrupted?
It has to. If he's locked away, how can he advance Jakku? We only need to make certain the locks are safe enough.
Indeed. And even if it were not so, we cannot and will not execute a Circle Mage based on mere conjecture. I am certain you understand.
Have you already spoken to Iskrim, Your Majesty?
Not yet. But I plan on doing so very soon.
Provided that he wants to. Ever since we dragged him out of those catacombs, he hasn't said a single word.
I will get him to talk.
What will become of Arrakis?
We will leave that up to the Prince to decide. Let us just hope that the rest of Hailstone's rebels are wiser than her brother.
They are. And just so you know, the Blackstone rebels will stick with you until you've done what you must.
Thank you, Hailstone. I appreciate your loyalty. General Aref, I advise that you set out to the meeting with this man from Imperia as soon as you can. The less time we lose, the better. This conclave is concluded.